Hey everyone, welcome to Myth Talk. Today's Myth Talk is on Mothman. This particular creature is most famous in West Virginia folklore. The Mothman is a legendary creature reportedly seen in the Point Pleasant area from November 12th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967. The first newspaper report was published in the Point Pleasant Register, dated November 16th, 1966, titled Couples See Man-Sized Bird Creature Something. The national press soon picked up the reports and helped spread the story across the United States. The Mothman was introduced in a wider audience by Gray Barker in 1970, and later popularized by John Keel in his 1975 book, The Mothman Prophecies, claiming that there were supernatural events related to the sightings and a connection to the corpse of a silver bridge. The Mothman is the subject of regional folklore and popular culture. In 2002 film, The Mothman Prophecies, starring Richard Jury, was based on Keel's book. An annual festival in Point Pleasant is devoted to the Mothman legend. As you can see, it is now part of many movies and television shows listed here, including Gravity Falls, Journal 3 by Disney, and during the festival, the Point Pleasant held a first annual Mothman Festival in 2002 in a 12-foot tall metallic statue of a creature created by artist and sculptor Rob Roach was unveiled in 2003. The Mothman Museum and Research Center opened in 2005 and is ran by Jeff Wamsley. The festival is a weekend-long event held on the third weekend of every September. There is a variety of events that go on during the festival, such as guest speakers, vendor exhibits, a Mothman pancake eating contest, and a hayride tours focused on the notable areas of Point Pleasant. The very first sighting was on November 12, 1966. 5 men who were digging a grave at a cemetery near Clendon, West Virginia, claimed to see a man-like figure flying low from the trees over their heads. This was often identified as the first known sighting of what became known as Mothman. Shortly thereafter, on November 15, 1966, 2 young couples from Point Pleasant, Roger and Lindy Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Millette, told police they saw a large gray creature whose eyes glowed red. With the car headlights picked it up. They described it as a large flying man with 10-foot wings flowing their car while they were driving in an area outside of the town that is the TNT area, the site of a former World War II manipulation plant. Following those sightings, the next few days, other people continued to cite similar sightings of the Mothman. After December 15th, 1967, collapse of the Silver Bridge and the death of 46 people, the innocent gave rise to the legend and connected the Mothman sightings to the bridge collapse. So they're saying that the Mothman caused the bridge to collapse. In 2016, WCHS TV published a photo portion to be the Mothman taken by an anonymous man while driving on Route 2. Science writer Sharon A. Hill proposed that the photo showed a bird, perhaps an owl, carrying a frog or a snake away. and wrote that there is zero reason to suspect it was the Mothman as described in the legend. There are too many far more reasonable explanations. I also want to point out that some people call the Mothman the Winged Man. The Mothman is described as a bipedal, winged amphibian humanoid with owl-like traits. Despite his name, which are given to him by newspapers, he is in no way moth-like. His coloration varies from gray, black, or even brown and white. Although it is usually the darker shades, he is often reported to be about 7 feet tall with a wingspan of about 10 to 15 feet or more, plus the ability to fly over 100 miles per hour. Sometimes he's described as not having a head with the two huge red eyes set in the chest. These eyes are reported to be glowing or at least reflective. The details of his face and his feet have been never accurately described. One witness who saw the face clearly could only say that the details were horrible and monstrous. She had terrible nightmares and nearly suffered a nervous breakdown. Anyone who gets close enough to look at the Mothman seems to suffer from extreme fear and psychological distress, sometimes lasting for months or years afterwards. In particular, people say that the sense of pure evil overcomes them when they see the Mothman's eyes. He can fold his wings and walk with a weird shuffle that many witness compared to a penguin. When he flies, he unfolds his wings and shoots straight up with great speed that levels out to go wherever he wants to go. He is rarely observed flapping his wings except for on takeoff. Witnesses often described his flight pattern as straight like a helicopter. He can fly much faster than any bird should be able to fly, as measured by those victims who suffered from what seemed to be Mothman's favorite activity, chasing cars. He'll fly in front of them and even sometimes hit the roof. So with that said, I think that this is going to end out this episode of Myth Talk. I really enjoyed learning some more about the Mothman. I never actually learned much about it before, but he was always quite someone I wanted to learn more about. So I'm glad I got to talk about him today. But next week's Myth Talk is another type of creature I've been wanting to learn more about, and that is Leviathan. So have a great day. Peace. Thank you guys for watching.